Hello dear students, welcome to Bajirao IAS Academy, the Hindu news analysis. So today is 6th June 2024 and we have few important articles to discuss in this current session. And before discussing all those important articles, let's try to solve yesterday given practice question. You all knew that yesterday I've given one practice question about the Nipah virus, right? So the question is, consider the following statements about the Nipah virus. The first statement says that this Nipah virus is a zoonotic virus and that can be transmitted to humans from animals, and the fruit bats and pigs are the natural host of the Nipah virus. Yes, this is a zoonotic disease and it is transmitted to humans from animals, and fruit bats and pigs are the natural host of this Nipah virus. Yes, of course, they are natural host, and this statement is also correct. And third statement says that Nipah virus can also be transmitted through the contaminated food directly from human to human. Yes, this is also true statement. And fourth statement, currently vaccine is available for use in animals. For people, use vaccine is yet to be developed. Okay, so actually the statement here asking about the not correct options. So which of the following are not correct? Now first we'll discuss the explanation part and then we'll come to the answer. We'll try to answer this question, right? So Nipah virus is a zoonotic virus that was given in the first statement. Now what are these zoonotic viruses? Zoonotic viruses are a kind of a viruses they transmit from the animals to human beings. So they are known as zoonotic viruses, and this Nipah virus is a zoonotic virus. And recent example being the COVID-19 virus or the COVID-19 pandemic that is caused by COVID-19 virus is also a zoonotic disease, right? So these zoonotic viruses transmitted from animals to human beings, such as from bats or pigs to human beings. And apart from that, they can also be transmitted through the contaminated food directly between the people. Now, one infected individual with the Nipah virus can actually transmit this disease to another individual through a food or any other direct contact. Now the second statement says that the Nipah virus infection in humans causes a range of clinical presentations. Now the symptoms ranging from asymptomatic infection, so that is subclinical infection, to acute respiratory infection can be caused along with the fatal encephalitis. Okay, so these are some of the symptoms or the consequences of health consequences on individual who are infected with the Nipah virus. However, when we talk about the mortality or the fatality of people who are infected with the Nipah virus, it ranges from around 40 to 75% of the fatality rate. Now this in the sense that, for example, imagine that 100 individuals are infected with the Nipah virus. So among 100 individuals, around 40 to 75% of the individuals would die because of this Nipah infection, and that is the fatality rate with respect to this Nipah virus. And apart from that, the fruit bats of the Pteropodiae family are the natural host of Nipah virus, and pigs can also act as an intermediary, further amplifying the host as well. So when we talk about this Nipah virus, there is no treatment or vaccine available for either people or animals, right? So fourth statement says that there is no treatment available, and at the same time no vaccine available both for people and animals also. The primary treatment for human beings is just a supportive care, and there is no drug or no vaccine is being available. Now we have discussed this explanation part, we have understood the Nipah virus. Now we'll try to answer this question. So Nipah virus is a zoonotic virus. Zoonotic viruses are viruses which transmit from animals to human beings, and it is being transmitted from humans transmitted to humans from animals. So therefore this statement is correct. And the second statement says that second statement says that fruit bats and pigs are the natural host of this Nipah virus. Okay. Sorry for that. Okay, so Nipah virus can also be transmitted through the contaminated food directly from human to human. So therefore this statement is correct, this statement is correct, this statement is correct. So the here the directive is that not correct, right? So currently vaccine is available for use in animals. For people, use vaccine is yet to be developed. However, this statement is incorrect. Why it is incorrect? Because there is no medicine or no vaccine available as of now for this Nipah virus, either to animals or to human beings. So therefore, how many of the above statements are not correct? Only one statement is not correct. So therefore correct answer is A for this Nipah virus. Right. So today also I have a very important practice question, and there is a probability that these type of questions are asked by UPSC, right? So hawkish stance of RBI monetary policy and dovish stance of RBI monetary policy. So what does they indicate? So the question is, which of the following statements best describes the hawkishness in RBI's monetary policy? The statement, first statement says that RBI's top priority is to keep inflation low, and second statement says that cut interest rate by RBI is off the table, and third statement says that RBI can either cut rate or increase rate, and fourth statement says that RBI is prepared to expand the money supply to boost the economic growth. Okay, so now please try to answer this question in the comment section. What will be the correct option for this hawkishness stance of RBI's monetary policy? And correct answer I will be providing you in tomorrow's lecture. So first we'll start this discussion with a very important article, that is with respect to education in India. So it is saying that there are a wide variety of disparities in schooling and the quality need to be further improved. Okay, so disparities in schooling quality need to end for better outcomes. Now, what is the context? We all knew that the Right to Education Act was passed in the year 2009 to provide universal education for children who are 6 to 14 years of age. So free and compulsory education for children in the age group of 6 to 14 years of age. However, when the Right to Education Act was enacted, that has significantly improved access to schools. So even though it has significantly improved the access to schools, the quality of education remained uneven. However, we can say that the quality of education has not significantly improved, even though the access to education for children has significantly improved. However, the existing evidence with respect to education and learning outcomes have been showing that or highlighting that there is a need for prioritizing the learning outcomes. In fact, Indian education system has neglected the learning outcomes. Therefore, there is a need to focus on the learning outcomes to improve the quality of education. However, when we talk about the educational outcomes, there are a wide variety of disparities across different fields and different regions. So in fact, the National Achievement Survey, which is conducted by the government to assess the quality of education, access to education, everything. So this National Achievement Survey 2021 has been highlighting that there are disparities in educational outcomes across different states, right? So this National Achievement Survey actually assesses the educational outcomes across different states in the country. So this National Achievement Survey has been highlighting that there are leading states like Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan. So they are actually performing better in subjects like mathematics and science when we compare it with the other backward states like Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Chhattisgarh. Okay, so this indicating that all the states are not performing on an equal footing when it comes to the few important subjects such as mathematics and science. So that is being highlighted by the National Achievement Survey. However, the educational outcomes are also impacted by the recent COVID-19 pandemic. Now, during COVID-19 pandemic, what has happened? In order to contain the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic, what the governments have have imposed lockdowns across the country. So education system was also severely impacted by these lockdowns. So National Achievement Survey 2021 indicates that there is a decline in the student performance compared to National Education Survey 2017. Okay, so there was a significant decline in the educational performance of students when we compare NAS 2021 with NAS 2017. So this is primarily because of the COVID-19 pandemic, lockdowns and shutting down of schools. And apart from the pandemic, there is also a shift from rote learning or learning, which is primarily based on rote learning methods, to competency based assessment. So the competency based assessment shift, and at the same time the COVID-19 pandemic have contributed to the significant learning losses among children. So apart from that, there is also a decline in the performance with the progression. Now when a student have been making progress from class 3rd to class 10th, or from different classes, one class to another class, so there is a decline in the performance of the student is also being observed through the data. So thus data highlighting that there is a consistent or significant decline in the average scores of all the students, or most of the students, so when they are progressing from one class to another class. For example, when we say this a significant decline in the performance of the students when they are progressing, the average score in language drops from 64.6% in class 3 to 52% in class 10. So this has been pointing out towards the fact that there is a lack of foundational skills among the students. So since they lack the foundational skills, they were not able to perform better with respect to the learning outcomes. However, there are certain theoretical insights and policy frameworks are also suggested here, okay, so that the learning outcomes and the foundational skills can be further significantly improved. However, when we talk about the existing strategies of improving foundational skills, foundational literacy, so those existing strategies mostly inadequate in reinforcing these concepts, and also they leading to the knowledge gaps among the children. So that is the problem. So apart from that, the Bloom's educational psychology has been highlighting that, so emphasis securing mastery in lower order cognitive skills before advancing to the higher order thinking skills. Okay, see, we need to emphasize on the lower order cognitive skills. So we need to build those foundational skills. Only then we will be able to think about the higher order thinking skills among the students. So this has to be done in a systematic manner, much more systematic manner. So there is a noted decline in the performance of the students, indicating that these lower order cognitive skills were not emphasized adequately, and that is where the problem comes. So these lower order cognitive skills are not emphasized adequately when we have been trying to build the higher order thinking skills. That largely inadequate because we have not worked on the lower order cognitive skills. That is also a very a significant issue here. So the noted decline in the performance actually suggesting that a premature progression to the complex tasks. So we all knew that the government has recently launched this National Education Policy 2020. So this National Education Policy 2020 aims to address all these issues that we have discussed so far. So the issues with respect to the foundational literacy, competency-based education system, and emphasizing on this lower order cognitive skills, and then proceeding further or progressing further towards the higher order thinking skills. So this National Education Policy aims to address all these issues that we have already or recently discussed. So this will focus on foundational literacy, numeracy by grade 3, and at the same time it will also promote the experiential learning among the students, and it also emphasizes on shift from rote learning to the competency based education among children. So all these provisions of the National Education Policy will actually help students improve their learning outcomes over a period of time, and that also significantly addresses the quality issues in education. So through Right to Education Act, what we have said, the Right to Education Act improved the access but neglected the quality of education. But National Education Policy actually focuses on both access as well as improving the quality of education. Okay, so there are certain strategies for improving the educational quality. So what are those strategies through which we can significantly improve the educational quality in our school system? First and foremost, we need to emphasize on professional development for the teachers. So professional development for the teachers is very, very important, because when teachers are regularly trained, trained teachers would deliver lectures better. So therefore, a continuous professional development and at the same time emphasis on establishing national professional standards for teachers. So it set standards for the teachers are very important for improving the teaching practices, and at the same time we should also emphasize on regular in-service training. So that is also very important for the teachers to improve the educational quality. See, if you look at the government schools, most of the teachers lack the necessary training. So they were not trained adequately to teach the students. So just when they qualified and when they pass the examination and they just serve in schools, rather the problem is that they do not lack adequate training, and that's where the educational outcomes are very poor in the Indian education system. So after that, the competency based education system has also emphasized. Recently, National Education Policy 2020 promotes this competency based education, so that will ensure student master the essential skills before they actually progress towards the advanced topics, so thereby preparing them for the higher education and even the workforce also, right? So when we have emphasized on the competency based education system, so it actually improves the cognitive abilities among the children, and it also develops the kind of a research innovative mindsets among the children, so thereby encouraging them to take up STEM fields, both male and female girl child. So that is very important. So after that, the National Curriculum Framework 2023 has also been launched recently by the Union government. So this National Curriculum Policy of 2023 aligns with the educational aims, curricular goals, competencies and specific learning outcomes also. So National Curriculum Framework and National Education Policy and even National Professional Standards for Teachers all emphasize on the educational quality or improving the educational quality. So therefore, this structured approach actually enhances or ensures transparency and accountability in the education system, and at the same time there will be a targeted intervention to address the learning gaps that the students have been facing in education system. However, there is a need for steps to address the existing disparities and also ensure the access and the quality in the Indian education system, and that is very, very important. So National Achievement Survey data must be utilized for improving the quality of education or making important interventions in the education system. We have to utilize the data from the National Achievements Survey. So states should use this National Achievement Survey data to identify and target the lagging areas. Now, what are the areas we are lacking behind through the use of data? See, so evidence based and data driven and science driven policies and interventions are very important to address the disparities and further improve the quality of education system. Okay, so they will ensure focused interventions and the resource allocation as well. So after that, we need to emphasize on teacher training also. Okay, so emphasizing on modern and competency based teaching methods through a continuous professional development and regular training and mentorship programs is very, very important, so that the teachers would get adequately trained regularly, and the quality of education in the schools will also significantly improve. And after that, we must engage parents and the communities in the further improvement of children, improving their cognitive abilities and further enhancing the competency based learning system, so to make students shift away from the rote learning. So therefore, the active involvement or engagement of the parents and communities is very important in this overall educational process, through which we can significantly improve the quality of the education system, and that is where we have been emphasizing on this National Curriculum Framework and even the National Education Policy. So all these things will significantly improve the educational outcomes and the quality of education in India's education system. Okay, so that's all about in this lecture. That's all about the education access and quality issues. So the next important topic is about white phosphorus. So recently Israel has retaliated the attacks of Hamas by, so this was in fact a brutal retaliation on the part of Israel and on the Gaza. Okay, so because Israel has also started attacking the civilian settlements in the Gaza Strip, so that has received a wide condemnation from across the world. And in fact, a lot of European countries are also started recognizing the Palestine as a state. So we have seen recently, so different states like Spain, Ireland, and even the Finland have started identifying the existence of Palestine as a state. Earlier they have not recognized, so earlier they had a close alliance with the Israel, right? So now we'll understand what exactly is this phosphorus, white phosphorus. So white phosphorus is a lethal chemical, and this particular white phosphorus chemical is capable of burning human skin and also disintegrating tissues deep inside the body. So because of this reason, it is known as a lethal chemical, white phosphorus. And this white phosphorus ignites when it exposed to the oxygen, and it continues to burn until it is deprived of oxygen or it is exhausted. So such a serious nature that this white phosphorus has. However, the Israel has been facing the criticism of using white phosphorus, or several human rights groups have also making allegations against Israel that Israel used this white phosphorus against the civilian settlements in the Gaza Strip. A group of human rights group accused Israel of using this white phosphorus incendiary shells on residential buildings in conflict-hit southern Lebanon, so possibly harming civilians, and it also leads to the violation of international law. So we'll understand what exactly is this white phosphorus. So white phosphorus is actually a solid waxy substance, and that looks like a yellowish or colorless. So either it is yellowish in color or it is colorless. However, it is a solid waxy substance, that is white phosphorus. And in fact, the white phosphorus very often has this garlic like smell. Okay, so the characteristics of white phosphorus are very important, because you may get question on the white phosphorus also, because it is in use. Now what are the uses and the properties of this white phosphorus? Now white phosphorus ignites instantly when it touches oxygen. Okay, whenever white phosphorus touches oxygen, it ignites or catches fire instantly, right? So the military use this white phosphorus for lighting up the battlefields and creating smoke screens and even an incendiary. So once the white phosphorus is ignited, it's hard to put out, and at the same time it sticks to the surface like skin and cloths. So it just sticks to the surface like a skin or a cloth. And apart from that, health risks are also associated with the use of white phosphorus. White phosphorus is very harmful for the humans in all forms of contact. So if you come in contact with the white phosphorus in any form, that is considered as harmful for the human beings, because you can see here, so ice and inhalation can lead to the respiratory diseases, and flash burns can lead to the vision impairment, skin so burns through its victims' bodies. So all these are the consequences of white phosphorus. And in fact, the smoke of white phosphorus contains the phosphoric acids and the phosphine also. So this phosphoric acid and phosphine can harm the eyes and also the respiratory system of people. And apart from that, the contact with the white phosphorus, whenever any individual comes in contact with the white phosphorus, so that can cause deep and severe burns, even penetrating through the bone also. So that kind of a harmful this white phosphorus actually is. So when we talk about this ban on the white phosphorus as of now is not banned by any country. So this incendiary substance is not banned, but its use in densely populated areas has been widely condemned by the international law. However, it is not banned. When we talk about the international law or the regulations on the use of white phosphorus, so there is no outright ban on the use of white phosphorus by the international law. Okay, so its use in densely populated areas has been widely condemned. Even though there is no outright ban, it should not be used in a densely populated areas, because we have understood the consequences of use of this white phosphorus on human beings, right? So it has a wide range of negative health consequences any individual comes in contact with the white phosphorus. Now when this white phosphorus is used as an incendiary weapon, not for the chemical warfare, rather an incendiary weapon, it is regulated by the protocol 3 of the convention on certain conventional weapons. So under this convention on certain conventional weapons, protocol 3, the white phosphorus, when it is used as an incendiary weapon, not for chemical warfare, it is being regulated by this particular convention. So however, violation of the convention happens only if it's deliberately used by any party against any other state. Okay, so when any country has used deliberately as an incendiary weapon against human in civilian areas like cities and the residential areas, then that could be a cause of concern. Okay, so only then there is a violation of this particular convention, when any country uses it deliberately against the civilian population, settlements or densely populated areas. Okay, so that's all about the white phosphorus. And next important topic is about the Tele-Manas cell that was created for the armed forces to address the mental health issues. Now in India, mental health issues are very under recognized area. So we do not give adequate importance, enough priority to the mental health challenges that people have been facing. So according to the survey, 1 in 5 individuals have been facing one form the other mental health issues. So however, we do not recognize these mental health issues, and that is where it leads to the distress among the individuals and sometimes committing suicide also, or suicidal thoughts also. Now we'll understand this context of this telemedicine for the armed forces, because armed forces have also been facing this mental health issues. So there are instances like due to excess pressure and mental health issues and distress, because they very often stay away from their families. So that's where they develop this mental distress, and that's where they require the mental health interventions. So the telemedicine cell for armed forces was created to address this mental health issues. So the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and along with that Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Ministry of Defense signed an agreement to establish this Tele-Manas cell in Pune. Right, so this Tele-Manas cell will be established in Pune, so by the Ministry of Defense and Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So the military actually facing unique challenges, so that can affect the mental health of the military personnel, and these challenges that the armed forces have been facing required special attention along with a special support also. Now what exactly is this Tele-Manas? Now the Tele-Manas abbreviation is Tele Mental Health Assistance and Networking Across the States. So that is the abbreviation of this Tele-Manas. I repeat again. So Tele-Manas is Tele Mental Health Assistance and Networking Across the States. So it is actually a service that provides the mental health care support, mental health care interventions over the phone. Okay, so it is actually a part of the larger program called District Mental Health Program, right? So this Tele-Manas is part of District Mental Health Program. District Mental Health Program. So the National Apex Center for this Tele-Manas is that National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences in Bengaluru is the Apex National Center for the Tele-Manas. So what Tele-Manas would do? So Tele-Manas would provide the mental health services over the phone to the distressed individuals, thereby giving them suggestions to get them to get relief from the distress, the mental distress and negative thinking or negative thoughts. Now we'll talk about the current scenario of this Tele-Manas. Now how these services are being provided to different categories of people. So there are already 51 Tele-Manas cells which are working across all states and union territories, and they are also offering 20 different languages. So since this Tele-Manas was started in October 2022, so it has received around 10 lakh calls. Okay, so it has received 10 lakh calls since October 2022. See, understand, this was launched when there was a COVID-19 pandemic in India. So COVID-19 pandemic has also resulted in a significant mental health issues because of isolation, and there was no social networking that was available at that point of time. Okay, so all these issues have built up a lot of mental health issues among the individuals. So therefore the government in October 2022 launched this Telemanas, and so far it has received 10 lakh calls, and in fact it has also handles as of now 3,500 calls every day. So you can understand the quantum of mental health issues that people have been facing across different parts. So therefore this number shows that there is a big need for the mental health care support and mental health care interventions, especially in places like armed forces. Okay, so it is very common that armed forces very often stay very far from their families. So therefore there is a chance that these mental health issues started propping up among the armed forces. So therefore there is a need to address such mental health issues, and Telemanas would essentially addresses such mental health issues among the armed forces. So when we talk about the mental health actually comprises our emotional, psychological, and the social well-being. So there are a wide variety of mental health issues. They include when you feel anxiety disorder and depression due to whether you failed in your examination or you get low marks or any other reason, whether you have lost your dear ones, and bipolar disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder. So these are different types of mental health issues that the people have been facing across the country. So therefore whenever they have been facing these mental health issues, there is no conventional care is available to address these mental health issues. So therefore the factors which have been increasing vulnerability, so emotional skills and substance use and genetics. So all these factors have been further enhancing or building up the vulnerability to these mental health issues among the people. Now when we talk about some data with respect to the mental health in India, it is said that 1 in 5 individuals have been suffering from the mental health issues. Okay, so they are also regularly observe the symptoms of these mental health issues. So this is a huge number, 1 in 5 individuals have been facing. And in fact, because of growing individualism and isolation, there is a probability that more and more people would face these mental health issues, and therefore we need to address these mental health issues in a systematic manner. And in fact 50% of these mental health conditions actually began by the age 14, and 75% of the mental health conditions develop by age 24. And after that 970 million people around the world have been struggling with this mental illness. So not just in India, 97 million, it is a huge. So 97 crore people have been across the worldwide suffering with this mental illness. So apart from that, 1 in 4 people are affected by the mental illness at some point in their lives. So therefore all these things have been pointing out towards there is a need for the intervention to address the mental health issues among the people, and particularly the armed forces. However, there are a number of challenges in addressing the mental health issues. So first and foremost is the social stigma to these mental illness and social exclusion and isolation whenever they have been facing these mental health issues. So that is the main problem. So first and foremost, we need to sensitize this society towards this mental health problems or the mental health issues. And after that, the financial barriers are also making the people who have been facing the distress stay away from the accessing care. And after that, there is also a limited availability of mental health education awareness. There is no hospitals who should be consulted. There is no awareness among the people about the mental health issues. So lack of awareness is in such a great scale that people even don't know whether they are facing these mental health issues or not. So very often these mental health issues are leading to the negative thinking and even the suicidal thoughts also. And after that, there is a lack of good mental health care professionals and services in India. That is also one of the concern. Now if you look at the data about the mental health care professionals in India, there are just 0.3 psychiatrists and 0.07 psychologists and 0.07 social workers for 1 lakh people in India. So that is one of the major problem with respect to this mental health care. However, the government has also launched a wide variety of healthcare initiatives. Now, what are those healthcare initiatives? For example, the first one was India's Mental Health Care Act 2017. So India's mental health care initiative was launched in the year 2017, and after the national mental health program. So that was also launched to address these mental health care issues, and national tele mental health program, and NIMHANS and I Got Diksha collaboration. And after that, Ayushman Bharat program was launched by the government. Okay, so health and wellness centers, Ayushman Bharat, and World Health Day and Kiran Helpline, Manodarpan initiative. So all these initiatives are being launched by the government to address the mental health issues. Now, whenever you are being asked a question on the mental health issues, because it is part of the general studies paper 2, you have to write these initiatives also, so that would further enrich your answer. Okay, so you just have to remember these health initiatives which specifically designed to address the mental health issues that the people have been facing. So the next very important article is about Narendra Modi government or NDA government. They likely form the government. So this is known as Modi 3.4. So it could establish Indian leadership in climate resilience. Now, how Modi 3.0 or this 18th Lok Sabha elections, after that Prime Minister Narendra Modi would form the government as the leader. Okay, so we'll understand the context of this article, how India can play a leadership in the climate resilience at the global level under Modi 3.0 government. Now, India enters the third Lok Sabha term. For Prime Minister Narendra Modi, it is a third term. Okay, so to become a Prime Minister. So it has provided an opportunity to further solidify its position as a global climate leader. And in fact, Prime Minister Narendra Modi already launched this visionary Panchamrit strategy. So in our lectures, we have very often and very frequently discussed about this Panchamrit strategy. And this Panchamrit strategy actually combined with India's impressive climate action and can set a benchmark for sustainable development across the world. Now, what exactly this Panchamrit vision and the climate strategy, which is part of this Panchamrit mission? Now, under the Panchamrit mission, the government has launched 5 ambitious and more important goals. So one such goal under the Panchamrit mission is that reaching 500 gigawatt of non-fossil fuel energy capacity. That is the first goal of the Panchamrit. Okay, so you can see here, reaching 500 gigawatt of non-fossil energy. So we'll produce 500 gigawatt of energy from the non-fossil fuels. So that includes biofuels, waste to energy, and hydroelectricity, nuclear energy, so all those things. Apart from that, there is also a second goal. The second goal is 50% of the energy from the renewable sources. So wind, solar, all those things part of the renewable energy. So 50% of the energy requirements are met through the renewable sources by 2030. And after that, we'll also reduce, this will be the third goal. Third goal is reducing carbon emissions by 1 billion tons. Okay, so 1 billion tons by 2030. And at the same time, the fourth goal is decreasing the carbon intensity of our economy by 45% by 2030, so compared to 2005 levels. And also one of the most important goal is becoming net zero by 2070. So this is also one of the most important goal that the Panchamrit strategy has outlined. So when we talk about when we look at all these 5 Panchamrit goals, so these 5 Panchamrit goals have been highlighting India's dedication to climate action. So how India is really committed to the climate action, setting up ambitious goals and significantly lower the carbon emissions. Now, when we follow all these commitments, we reduce our dependence on the fossil fuels. And now, if you look at the climate aspect, fossil fuels are essentially generating emissions, the carbon emissions. Okay, so it is the primary emitter of the carbon, and with the carbon emissions, the global warming increasing and climate change is also increasing. Now, these 5 Panchamrit goals essentially aimed at addressing the climate challenges that the world has been facing and India has been facing, and in fact it is a contribution from Indian side to address the climate change. So we can say that this is part of India's climate action. that India has set itself ambitious goals. And these all goals, if achieved successfully, it would significantly cut down the carbon emissions. And India would also make a shift towards the green and renewable energy. So that is very, very important, particularly in an era where climate change has been rapidly and significantly increasing. So however, we need to talk about the global impact of climate change and following these five goals under Panchamrit. So this strategy actually sets a global benchmark. Global benchmark how? So it has actually showed or highlighted India's role in leading international efforts towards the sustainable development, because see, understand, India is a developing country. Despite being a developing country with a lot of challenges, India announced that it will become a net zero by 2070. So therefore, we can say that India has actually showcased the leadership role at the global level or international level when it comes to climate action. So right, so India can set, and Modi 3.0 can also actually address this climate, can play a leadership role at the global level when it comes to addressing the climate change. Now we need to balance the sustainability and development, and that is one of the major challenge we have been facing. Now it is very often development versus the environmental sustainability. Now in order to ensure the environmental sustainability, we need to compromise on the part of the development. However, when we focused on development, we need to compromise on the environmental sustainability, but the focus should be on balancing both development and environmental sustainability. So we need to ensure economic growth and at the same time the environmental sustainability. So for ensuring this or doing this, we have to emphasize on science-driven, evidence-based policies, and they actually guide India's climate action, which is balanced. We are balancing the economic growth along with the environmental sustainability. And apart from that, India has also played a leadership role by launching various initiatives at the global level. Okay, so it is said that India has actually spearheaded a lot of initiatives, like International Solar Alliance was launched by India, and Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, CDRI, Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, and International Solar Alliance. I hope all of you know about these initiatives. So India has spearheaded or led these initiatives, formed these initiatives at the global level, advocating the Global Alliance on Biofuels and accelerate the energy transition from the fossil fuels to the green and renewable energy. So apart from that, India has also launched this Global Biofuel Alliance in during its presidency of G20 summit. This is Global Biofuel Alliance, and in fact a lot of countries are part of this Global Biofuel Alliance. So this was launched during the 2023 G20 summit by India. And this Global Biofuel Alliance actually promotes the biofuel trade and best practices, and at the same time it will also significantly enhance the energy transition. We make a transition from the fossil fuel based economy to renewable energy based economy, and it will also create a lot of jobs, and it will also result in the economic growth across the country. However, we need to talk about the accomplishments with respect to the renewable energy and the future challenges in achieving the renewable energy targets or Panchamrit goals also. So when we talk about India's solar energy capacity, it is said that India's total solar energy capacity has increased 26-fold compared to the last decade, and the wind energy capacity has also doubled compared with the last decade. So this is in fact a rapid and a significant growth with respect to the renewable energy. And the other major milestone of India is that the country already achieved the 40% target of installed power capacity which is being produced from the non-fossil fuels ahead of its schedule. The schedule was around 2030, but India already achieved this target of 40% electricity or energy from the non-fossil fuels such as renewables. So however, there are a lot of challenges in making a rapid transition from a fossil fuel based economy to the renewable based economy. So investments are also a challenge. So despite making a rapid progress and achieving a lot of milestones by India, we significantly or disproportionately dependent on coal for electricity generation. Now remember that coal is a fossil fuel. When we burn coal to produce electricity, it also releases carbon into the atmosphere. So when it releases carbon into the atmosphere, so that increases global warming, and that also leads to the climate change as well. So therefore it is remaining a key challenge that India need to address. So in this context, we need to emphasize on sustainable investments across various renewable energy fields and infrastructure and sustainable land use practices, and all these investments and interventions in the area of renewables is important to address all the climate goals, or to achieve all the climate goals, and at the same time disproportionate dependence on coal should be reduced as well. So after that, Indian carbon market so is also aimed at lowering India's emission intensity by around 45%. Okay, so it will reduce India's emission intensity by around 45%, this carbon market. And now carbon market, essentially these carbon credits are traded between the carbon credit generator and carbon purchasers, because in order to comply with the emission norms. So if, for example, any industry which has exceeded its emission norms, so that would purchase these carbon credits from any person who is already achieved the efficiency with respect to the emissions. So therefore, this Indian carbon market aims to lower India's emission intensity by 45% by 2030. By supporting the net zero emission goal of 2030 through a robust carbon trading mechanism. So it will help us achieve the net zero emission by 2070 through the carbon trading mechanism. Okay, so that's all about India's climate leadership at the global level, and how Modi 3.0 government will actually play a key and important role at the global level. Okay, so that's all in this lecture, and thank you so much. So please try to answer this question in the comment section, and also like, subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you.